Good morning, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah! AM. What's going on out there, Lou? Boy, we had one of the coldest days last week that was just out of this world. I mean, it was the coldest, Carla May, it was the coldest day in 30 years.
It was. Oh, my God.
30 years.
When I looked at the temperature, it said 1 degrees, but it said it felt like 22 because of the wind chill.
That's right. Ladies and
Below
gentlemen,
22, minus 22.
This is Senator Carla May that I'm talking to here. Huh?
Right.
We're going all the way with Carla May. This is
Absolutely.
our lady. This is our queen. She's our queen. She is the Bosley Show queen. Queen Carla. Queen Carla May. Yes, I mean, and look, I had a tent up at the Zodiac, and it had windows in it. The cold was so cold. It was so cold, it shattered the windows.
Oh, my God.
It shattered those windows. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just unexpected cold, unheard of cold, and for St. Louis, I mean, we know it gets cold, but that was really cold.
Yeah, and then you have to think of all of those people that are unhoused who were experiencing those temperatures, and where did they go and shelter, in place. We have some. And I think this is the first time we've been this cold in years.
30 years.
30 years, wow.
30 years. And, I feel sorry for those folks that were up east, like in Newark, New York.
Oh, my goodness.
Buffalo. They say they found 50 people dead.
Right.
In their cars.
But wait a minute. Did you see this man in Buffalo digging out his car? The snow was taller than him.
Yes.
And taller than the car. And the car was in his drive. It's like he was digging a pathway to get the car out.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
In Buffalo, when they talk about the snow, we talk about snow in inches. In Buffalo, they talk about snow in feet.
Feet, right. 22 feet of snow.
I can't believe that. Yes,
No.
That stuff is terrible, but
I don't know why people still live there.
Well, they're accustomed to it. I mean, that's what it is, and that's one of the guys got on the television and said, "This is Buffalo. We get snow." But I don't think they got it like that.
Right.
And I don't think they got it where, I mean, in up east, 50 people dead. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah,
and
that was crazy.
And that is not even the worst part about it. Everybody was trying to travel. They canceled all of these flights. This was unheard of.
This is Southwest Airlines disaster. I mean, they normally don't have, I would imagine, almost 4,000 flights, 3,700 flights a day. They canceled 2,500 flights.
Right.
And if you look on the top, if you saw it on TV, it was just a sea of luggage. Did you see that?
It was a
sea of luggage, and people walking around trying to find their luggage. And the Southwest people didn't really have any answers for them.
But I was trying to figure out, was that people that were? Because I know that I had some family members who did Christmas in Florida. They were on Southwest. They haven't even been able to get back in yet.
Absolutely.
And they were told that they wouldn't be having flights coming back in until like December 30th or December 31st.
Hey, look, I got friends with kids in college. I mean, their kids, they came home, but they couldn't get back to the school.
Right.
And then there are people that kids they play sports at the schools, and so the problem there is your position, some of them feel, is jeopardized because you're not there. So
Right.
somebody's gonna play. That's just like a person whose first string gets injured, and then they bring up the person at second string, and that person really shines.
Absolutely.
So they you possibly could lose your spot.
Lose your spot.
Yeah, I mean.
But this was unheard of. And they said that, I don't know, they said this had never happened before. But I wonder what caused it. Was it the freezing temperatures on the runway? Because, I mean, when you talk to Buttigieg, they were saying that weather is not an excuse for what took place.
That's right. And the thing about it is the unions, there are memos being circulated amongst the employees and the flight attendants from the unions saying that Southwest corporate knew. They knew about the problem of staffing, and they continued to take the money, and they continued to book flights when they knew those people were not going to be able to catch those planes.
Right, because someone said that the pilots were on strike.
Pilots and other people too. So right. So you have the corporation of Southwest Airlines was on notice that they had a problem.
They knew, and then that's the amazing part to me. You know, it's the same thing that they do when they really overbook flights, and then when you get there, the flight is full, and they're trying to get you to take a different flight, or they give you a flight voucher for a different flight. But the thing about this is you can accommodate hotel, you can accommodate, me having to rent a car, but are you going to be able to accommodate what I missed? You get me?
No, it's priceless.
Right, it's priceless. It's like
priceless.
That moment where I was trying to get to, it was during the holidays.
It's during the holidays.
Right.
People, those memories of driving people back home. You want to come see grandma, want to come see mama, want to come see daddy, want to see all your relatives and all of that. That was lost for a lot of folks.
It was a huge loss.
That's what you call an intangible. You cannot put a value on it.
You can't put a value
once
on
it's
it.
gone, it's gone. And so now Southwest Airlines is sitting up here trying to figure out what they're going to do.
Absolutely.
People are still out at airports trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It's just a big mess. But the bottom line is, from the indications that I get and from what I hear, Southwest Airlines knew about this problem, but
Absolutely.
because of the money, they wanted to make that money. And maybe they said, well, let's make the money, and then we'll have enough money. We can pay them for whatever it is that it cost them.
Right. And so, it plays along into this question that has been emerging, in reference to Lambert in pushing for one terminal instead of having two terminals, too. Have you heard about that?
Lambert wants to connect the two terminals.
Yes.
And so, like you say, it would be just one big terminal.
One big terminal, absolutely.
But, the thing about it is, having been mayor and traveling a lot, I look at our airport and compare it to airports in Miami, Atlanta. Our airport is a baby. It's a little bitty airport.
It is.
It's a little. When you really think about it, you go to these other places. These airports are huge. I mean, the airport in Miami is really something else. Airport in Atlanta is something else. But the airport here in St. Louis, it's small.
Right.
It's small considering, and it's just dwarfed in comparison to these other airports. So we do need to connect these two terminals,
Right.
and maybe it might help expedite the travel around.
That's right. And so you're balancing the conversation of, what the community wants to see at Lambert, but you also got to think about the airlines that are going to be the anchors for the airport as well. So those two things, and the size of our airport compared to the size of other airports,
Yeah.
and what they're bringing when you get there. Because, I like to shop when I have a layover.
And what are you shopping for here in our airport?
That's what I'm talking about. And I think those are valuable tax dollars we're missing.
Baby, you go to Miami,
Right.
Miami Airport, you can get anything.
The Coach store, the Michael
That's
Kors
right.
store, all of those
All of that.
high-end retail stores.
High-end
Right.
retail
You can
stores.
get last-minute
Yeah.
gifts and stuff on your way in. So
Perfume, cologne, liquor.
everything, liquor, perfume, cologne, liquor,
All that stuff.
all of that.
Yeah, all of that, and we don't have it. But problems are opportunities.
It is.
So that must,
Huge opportunity.
it means we can get there. We can get there, but you got to have a lot of work. You got to have organization, and you got to have leadership. I mean, you just can't talk about it. You got to be about it. You got to roll up your sleeves and put your shoulder to the wheel and get this stuff done.
That's
right. Oh, my God. We up on a break already? Okay. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. We'll be right back. Keep it on lock. Quit playing. So. Welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. I'm here with Senator Carla May, and we were just talking about the mishap, the fiasco at Southwest Airlines, but this is, I imagine they're trying to get a handle on it, but they have messed up. I think heads will roll, Carla.
Heads will roll.
Heads will roll. I think that you could probably expect the CEO to step down. I mean, it doesn't get any messier than this.
Absolutely. But he was on there, but his he's talking about, I promise we will get through this. There were no answers. There was no, you know what I'm saying? No empathy as to what the passengers was really going through.
I got his statement. I'm going to try to see if I can pull that statement up.
It was interesting, to, but then coming out ahead of time. Oh, my God. And then passengers were finding out that flights were canceled when they were in the line. It's like, no text message, nothing saying, your flight has been canceled, discontinued. You're already at the airport. Your bag's already checked.
Yeah. Well, here's his statement. He says, well, hey there, Southwest Airlines. Bob Jordan here. Yeah, I don't want to overload you with communication, but I want to make sure you're hearing from me very regularly as we continue to work through the operational challenges. That's code for screw up. I want you to know a couple of things. Again, I'm going to say it every time. Nothing trumps safety. So we're going to continue to manage the operation and stay safe. I want you to know I've heard folks ask about apologizing. I want to be straight up that I'm sorry that we're in this mess. There are hordes of teams working on solutions right now and have been for days and days. Ultimately, though, this stops with me. He's accepting responsibility. I'm accountable for this, and I own our issues, and I own our recovery. I want you to know that as well. Above all, I'm grateful to you. I'm thankful for you guys. I know this is difficult, but like you say, he's not saying nothing.
No, he's not.
He ain't said
really
a damn thing.
No empathy there. No, basically you owning the issue. There's no apology to me.
But he said he's sorry.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. And to me, why would we totally disregard, the employees? Like, what were we doing? Like they were not going to do what they said they were going to do. They were not going to strike. We weren't going to meet their demands. To me, it should have been an upfront statement saying, listen, we have booked these flights, but here's where we are in employee negotiations between the airline and the union. You should have came out with that up front.
Yeah.
And that way people would have been trying to travel at their own risk.
Right, and maybe share with the people what the real problem is.
Absolutely.
So folks sound crazy. They want to know, particularly when you flying around. Look, I heard that some of these tickets were $2,000.
Mm-hmm. And then
$2,000.
But that's because
who has
the holiday. And they, them prices on the holiday prices.
$2,000. That's a lot of money.
It depends on where you're going.
That's a lot. That is a lot of money. But I'm hoping that they can get through this and people can get home safely. And the other thing is, losing your luggage is a real trip.
Oh, my God.
You hear me? I mean, you got all your stuff that you done packed, things that you think are important, your precious items, whatever. You put that stuff in a suitcase and put the suitcase on the plane, and you're assuming that whenever you get to where you're going, the suitcase is going to be there. And you really get bent out of shape, I'm telling you, when it's not.
Absolutely.
When it's not there, you get bent out of shape.
Right.
So think about this. They had, 1,500 council flights? No. They had 2,500 council flights. 2,500 council flights. So that means council flights and the sea of luggage. Just imagine the sea of luggage out there. And now think about the people. Mad as hell.
Absolutely. And another thing, too, is, they had all these canceled flights. They didn't make an upfront statement in reference to the challenges they were having internally, and I done forgot my point, but anyway,
yes.
At the same time, you're trying to, they made this statement after the fact, basically, I guess they were trying to say people need to, when you have situations like this, it's important to put essential things in your carry-on,
yes.
Like snacks, water, essential things that you're going to need. But at the same time, you're not thinking about that because a lot of things you can't carry on.
What is that, 3 ounces?
Yeah, 3 ounces you're limited to. So when you get behind the thing, you maybe can buy a bottle of water or something like that.
Yeah,
but so, those are the things you have to look at. So.
Okay, let's move on to another issue here. I wanted to mention this briefly because we got to do a show on this. Carla May, are you aware of the fact that there are now hair straightening chemicals have been associated with a higher uterine cancer risk? Have you heard about that yet?
I have heard that. Mm-hmm.
And so now and here's the other piece about it. And you need to know it's higher among black women than anybody else.
And the reason for that is because we use the straightening things to straighten our hair more than anybody else. But now, see, you have this natural way. Women are getting away from those products because I stopped using it in 2015.
Okay.
So,
well, what is it that, how often do you straighten your hair? Because they're saying if you did straighten your hair with chemicals 4 times in a year,
you were straightening your hair every 6 weeks.
Okay, every 6 weeks.
That's right.
So 6 into 52.
6 to 8 weeks, you were getting what they call a relaxer.
Yes.
And I've been getting those since high school.
There you go.
You got what I'm saying?
There you go.
And so I need to sue because I need to find out what's going on.
So you did that 8 times a year.
That's right. Absolutely.
8 times a year. So
8 times a year.
We're gonna.
And then the thing about it is there are little to no regulations when it comes to cosmetics like this. They are not approving these chemicals. They're not controlled by feds or anything like that, and they're getting away with murder. Yeah. And they doing the same thing with the supplements.
Yes.
The
use of the straighteners says 80 black women 60 to 80 to 100%.
And I wonder, is that due to, the high fibroid tumors that African American women have?
About the fibroid tumors?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's probably, don't
and
even
they're talking about also hair dyes, bleach, highlights, or perms.
Yes.
So we're going to have some people on, talk about it a little bit more. We definitely need to have a beautician here so the beautician can tell us about all the different types of things that women do in terms of their hair. And then we'll have...
Well, I can definitely tell you that.
Yeah, right. All right. And then we have a lawyer to talk about what some of the ramifications are. But that's a huge issue that we want to really explore at a later date.
So have they started a class action suit yet?
Oh, well, one has already been started, and I would imagine there'll probably be some more, This just in, Brandon Bosley's in the house.
Wow.
Huh?
Wow.
Yeah, man. Brandon Bosley is in the house, so we'll get some firsthand comments from him in terms of what happened out there in the streets, okay?
But while we're waiting on him to come join us, I wanted to give a shout out to Planned Parenthood as well, because they won that lawsuit against the state the fight over the Missouri Medicaid reimbursement.
Yes, yes.
And so basically they were trying to sue, they sued because the state had blocked reimbursement to Planned Parenthood for other medically necessary things that they treat for. So Missouri was trying to end reimbursements for birth control, cancer screening, sexually transmitted diseases, testing and treatment, and other non-abortive services. So they provide a wide array of other medical services that are not aborted, and so there is no reimbursement for abortions under the Medicaid program anyway. So they sued and they won that victory. So we want to give them a big shout out for that victory.
Congratulations.
That's right. That was a big win.
Also, I wanted to touch a little bit on this issue, and it's just something that is extremely important. I think some of us probably slept it, but this issue, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, has issued a report that says hate crimes are up nearly 70% in Missouri. Hate crimes.
I wonder why.
Up 70% in Missouri from 2020 to 2021, according to the data collected by more than 81% of the law enforcement agencies in the state. Hate crimes are up 70%, and it relating to race, ethnicity, and ancestry. And I would imagine what we got now, though, an alert. We really need to issue an alert, because if the white people and the FBI telling you that the hate crimes are up, you know that they're up. The guy from the from the FBI is saying that we have an epidemic of hate crime in Missouri. It's an epidemic. So word up, I just want to send a message out to our friends that live out there in O'Fallon, and people in St. Charles, people in St. Peters, not to mention South County, Pilot Knob, and Knob Noster. Watch your back. Watch your back. I'm telling you, if you got 70% of the hate crimes up, yeah, they out here to do something. And here's the thing. Your president unleashed them. Yeah, he did. He unleashed them.
Now, which president was that?
Huh?
Was it
Your former president. Okay.
Was it number 45?
I don't know which number he
Which
was.
number
That's what
was
I
it?
heard people say, number 45. Trump unleashed them. Trump has unleashed them. And that January 6th fiasco, that attempt to overthrow the government, that let everybody know that it's okay.
And that's right. If you don't have any accountability, and it amazes me how there is a double standard in our country when it comes to people. Like these people that are not being arrested, that would normally be arrested if it was any other person in the country. Absolutely. On these charges. They are not appearing in court. There's no, nothing bringing them in. That is a double standard, and our system shouldn't be like that. And so that's another thing we have to look at. There's no accountability. That was high treason. I don't care what anybody say. They should have been tried under treason.
No, they should have been shot. Here's my view. Now, here's the deal. We've got some testimony from these hearings where one of the people that's in charge of the Capitol Police came out and said a black guy has come forward. This guy has authority. He's high up in terms of the law enforcement agencies that were in Washington, D.C. on January the 6th. He testified before Congress, before this select committee, that if these people were black, it would have been a different outcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He said, and now this is an official statement. He said if they were black, it would have been a different outcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They should have been shot.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then they did this 18 months of investigation into the January 6th, and the report is out. And people need to go look at the document and read, basically what is going on. But it is really up to the Department of Justice
Yes.
to pursue criminal charges if they're going to pursue any. And for me, I don't have confidence that anything is going to come out of this. And that's what makes it so scary and so dangerous, and what puts our total government at risk for something like this happening in the future, for taking over. We have a unique government that runs the United States, and we need to value it, because if you travel around the world, there is nothing like it. The peaceful transfer of power, all of that, we should, respect it and value it highly and protect it.
Well, we do when we think it's important, and here's the thing about this though. But for old white males, these were old white males, old and young, but they were white males for the most part, leading this charge. You hear what I'm saying? And these police officers at the Capitol, they gave deference to their presence. You hear what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, we saw on television where there was this black police officer in the Capitol running from these guys. He got a gun, and he was remember the guy backing up the steps, running up the step and running down the hall. His job was to protect that Capitol no matter what. He should have fired.
Absolutely.
He should have fired.
But why was he afraid to fire?
Because they were white men.
Absolutely.
I got to tell you, they were white men. Look, he'd have shot his brother.
Right.
He'd have popped him. Yes. Quick.
Absolutely. And that tells you the double standard of justice in our country that we need to correct. And we need to diligently guard our democracy.
Well, it's a new low. It's a new low, not only for people in the country, people from all around the world who watch this thing unfold said to themselves, hey, the United States don't have it together as much as we thought they did.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The United States does not have it together as much as we thought they did.
Absolutely.
And these people came so close.
Absolutely.
I mean, they were chasing Nancy Pelosi down the hall, and people running around. I'm talking about United States congressmen, United States senators, fearing for their lives.
Absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely. But the thing about it is, it incited a whole interesting paradigm when you have people who are actively I would call them sleeper cells, until this ideology began to rise up during 2020 and on. Just like this man, he went after Nancy Pelosi. Well, who put in his mind that she was this villain? See, we have to choose our words carefully, because, the former president, as much as he said, we got to get, her, and we got to get him. You saying these words, but people who are not mentally sound are taking actions on those words that you are saying. That man went after that woman's husband, attacked him in his house.
Cracked him upside the head.
Right. This is
and he's an old man. He could have been killed.
He could have been killed. But what I'm trying to say is, your words, you are inciting violence. And I thought under some form of law somewhere that was a crime.
Yes.
Inciting violence. Oh. And that's inciting violence. You have people that, just like I said, we talked about the governor in Michigan. They just found those people guilty who tried to kidnap her based on they felt like the restrictions she put in place in 2020. But who were talking about that in such a negative way? It's like, you get what I'm saying? Oh my God.
Yes.
What I'm saying, the inciting of violence has caused people to act who probably necessarily wouldn't have made those moves.
And again, Donald Trump has made all of these things okay.
Absolutely.
He, as the
But
president,
not only him, the people that continue to support to continue to be silent and not say what's wrong. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
I can support a person,
all right.
but I'm supporting you. But when you make when you do something that's totally wrong, I have to let you know that's wrong, and you shouldn't have made that statement.
There's a statement that says, in order for evil to prevail,
That's right.
all it takes is for good people to do nothing.
Absolutely.
And that is what's happening in this country.
Absolutely.
Good people are sitting idly by and doing nothing. And you know why? Because it's not them.
That's right. But in the long run, it becomes them, because when you destroy the democracy that we have, or you destroy the way of life that our country has experienced, it becomes you. When you get what I'm saying? Do you want a dictatorship government? Do you want, you get what I'm saying, unrest and not peace in the country that you dwell in? Do you want to have not a peaceful transfer of power, and then you say you love God, but then you let somebody incite violence towards another person? Come on, what is that?
Yeah, well, and
good people who support it, you might have started off supporting somebody with good intentions, but when do you say?
When you draw the line.
When do you draw the line?
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. When do you draw the line?
And they have not left him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he has enjoyed 1/3 support of the whole country, do or die, no matter what. These people are still with him.
Absolutely.
They're still with him.
Absolutely.
In light of all of the things that have transpired, in light of all of the things that has happened, this major insurrection on January the 6th, these people are still with Donald Trump. And now, I did notice one thing. The committee's report came out, and when there was a portion in there that said anybody that has incited or tried to engage in insurrection, should not be allowed to run for office.
Yeah, that was one of the first
Not
things
be allowed to run for office.
that was cited in
I
the
agree with
14th
that.
Amendment. The committee recommended that they should be barred, that the former president should be barred from holding federal office.
Oh, boy, we're
Also,
almost
the
out of time
creation-
there. Look
Oh,
at
my
this.
God.
All right. Hey, you're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. Keep it on lock. We'll be right back. Quit playing. Testing 1 2 test. Welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. With me is Senator Carla May. You know, it's a Carla May show from time to time. I give her that. You know, we've been talking about what's happening in Washington, D.C. I generally don't want to spend time on some of the national issues, but some of this stuff is important, so we'll drill down on it a little bit.
It trickles down.
Yeah, that's right. But we've just been joined by Alderman Brandon Bosley, who is the alderman of the 3rd/new 14th Ward, and we're going to be talking to him in a few minutes, but Carla May wants to tighten up just a little bit on this insurrection.
Well, you know, I just wanted to, you know, when we had left off, you were talking about they had, you know, recommended that you be barred from running for office. Mm-hmm. That was, you know, some of them. And then one of the stronger, you know, they said that criminal penalties for those who obstruct the peaceful transfer of power. Yeah. So, you know, because one of the things they said was that there was really no teeth in the law in reference to insurrection. Mm-hmm. You know, how do you punish it? So to me, that's chef law. Mm-hmm. So now they're recommending that, you know, criminal penalties be put in place, which I agree with, you know. And then they also recommended that federal penalties be put in place when you threaten election workers.
Oh, of course.
You know, a lot of that went on. You know, the threat of election workers, people who were, you know, they said some of those threats were sexualized and racist in nature and even targeted some of their family members. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to bring out some of those things that was in the report, you know, as something that's serious. And all of that trickles down because even in these local elections, these state elections are getting more and more vile.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's sad. And people are, and the worst part about it is, it's polling that people like the negativity.
That people enjoy that?
Yeah, it's polling that they're enjoying it higher. So what does that say about us God-fearing people? You get what I'm saying? The Bible is so true. When it talks about in 2 Timothy, people are going to be, you know, going whichever way that satisfy them in their own itching ears. Right. I'll find the scripture later, but I'm just paraphrasing, you know. Okay. All right. So it is crazy.
Well, in the studio with us right now, we've got Alderman Brandon Bosley of the 3rd/14th Ward, and I say that so that people can think or picture where they are, because most people are still thinking they're in the wards that they were in, and not that they're part of the combined wards. So the 3rd Ward is now the new 14th Ward, along with the 5th Ward. So we got Brandon Bosley, who is the alderman. Are you the alderman of the 14th Ward? Or you and Mr. Page are 2 aldermen in this 14th Ward?
Well, I would say both of us are the aldermen.
Yeah.
In the same area.
Okay.
Yeah, the same area.
Okay, welcome. And full disclosure, he's my brother.
100%.
All right, so that those of you in the listening audience know that he's my brother, so we're putting that out there right now. But why don't you had an incident that happened earlier this week, yes, involving somebody that tried to attack you and rob you, yes, so to speak. So can you just kind of take your time? We got a little time, and kind of let us know what that was all about.
So what people are seeing initially on the video is a second instance of that happening to someone else. And the initial time that happened, from the very first time, we were on 20th and Madison. I was doing a routine.
What time was it?
About 9:30ish, something like that. I generally drive my ward in times where folks aren't outside. It's very easy to kind of look and see what's going on so you don't get stopped. And, you know, you can kind of look at what's going on, especially during times where it's like snowing. You can turn your music up and just kind of enjoy. So either way, decided to go around this area, looked at some of the stuff that was complained about. So an entire block does not have lids on trash cans, which is retarded. But I, learned that a week before, decided to just take my time and go through that area as well. So Upon kind of looking at everything, getting back in my vehicle, this woman ran up to me and said, why are you in my people's house?
She said what?
She ran up, she said, why are you in my people's house?
Okay.
And she was, she came out, it seemed like she came out the bushes. I can't really say where she came from, but she came out of nowhere. And
Like Mike Owens?
Yeah, I mean, she came out of nowhere. So she wasn't like running up to me, but she came out of nowhere. She's like, I was running back to the car 'cause it's cold outside, and she was like, why are you coming out my people's house? And I was like, I'm not coming out your people's house. And she said, give me your keys. So I was like, shocked at first. Man, I said, I'm not giving you my keys. And she said, give me your keys now. And I said, she said it again. And I said, ma'am, I am a government official. She said, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. My name is Freeman Bosley. I'm the alderman of the area. She said, no, you're not. And then she stuck her hand in her jacket, and she got real close up on me. By that time, I was at the vehicle. And she said, give me your keys or I'm going to shoot you. And she turned back to her. She looked over her side. There was a white car at 20th and Madison parked a little further back. We were about a block up. Well, not a block up, half a block, something like that. And they started shooting off shots. So I
firing
ran.
In the air?
Right. Well, yeah, I would think they were firing in the air because I didn't hear any bullets whiz past me. So she looked back at them. They started shooting. I ran. Once I ran away, I looked back. She was running as well. So I saw that.
Running away or running towards you?
She tried to get in the vehicle. So that the door was open because it's one of those cars that when you get close to it, it automatically opens itself up. So she actually opened up the door, hopped in, tried to start it. This is all happening in seconds. So while I'm running, she noticed she couldn't start it. She hopped back out, ran towards that white car. I saw her run, so I ran and got back in the car and drove off. So I'm driving down Madison towards North Florissant. I see that same white car speeding past me, going up towards, it's on Tucker. So it made a left on Tucker. I watched it make that left, and I didn't get close up on the vehicle. So I called 911 prior to that and told them I had just been attempted to be robbed. This is what happened. They told me they were going to send a vehicle. And I called them a second time after I saw that white car and said, hey, this is the vehicle I believe to be in cahoots with what just happened. So while they were driving down the street, I stayed about 2 blocks back, letting the police know this is where their whereabouts. We got around Delmar and Tucker. They sped up. I didn't speed up behind them. I kind of just let them go. Once I went right, I believe on Delmar, they disappeared. I called the police back and told them I'd be going to the BP gas station to wait, because what they said is, while I was calling them, is that I need to get to a stable location, because calling them, going from location to location isn't really helping them. So what I did was I went back to the gas station. When I pulled up at the gas station, here she is in the middle of the street trying to do the same thing to other people. So that's when I turned my camera on. But I was waiting at the gas station at the light for the police to get there.
Okay.
So I turned the camera on. And, while I'm recording.
But this is at 9 o'clock at night.
Right, this is at 9:30. Around that time, it probably was about 9:50.
Okay.
Just
close
from
to
the from the time the first time she actually was up on my person.
Okay.
To the time I actually went live, it probably was about 25 minutes that had transpired. So while she was standing out impeding traffic and cars were going around her, this one car did stop and then sped off at a high speed of rate. And it looked like she got hit by that vehicle, which is why she was on the ground. So I drove up. I'm just being who I am, I'm still an alderman. So even aside from that, I just help people in general. So, definitely, in a situation like that, you don't want to come off soft to anybody. You really never know what a person is willing to do. But also, if you just got hit by a car, I can give aid. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So saying what it is that I have to say, hey, if you don't try to hurt me because I'm able to hurt you back, but do you need some aid? Do you need some help? Let me see what I can do to help you out. And I tried to, pick her up off the ground. She didn't want some help.
Oh, you tried to pick her up?
Yeah, I actually tried to give her a hand and lift her up off the ground. So me saying exactly what I said, and I don't mind saying it. Hey, if you have a gun on you and you yank on me, I'm gonna blow your head off. Just like you just told me you was getting ready to kill me, a few minutes ago. So for me, it's no different than a person who shoots at a police officer and then that police officer is forced to give them aid right after they shoot them back. So you didn't shoot me, I didn't shoot you, I didn't harm you, I ran away, but you just got hit by a car. ain't nobody else out here in the snow. I didn't know that you was gonna get hit by a car. Let me see what I can do to help you out. You don't want my help? She slapped my hand. I hopped back in the car, bust a U-turn, and I was going back to the gas station to wait to, for the police to get there. Yeah. And she was headed that way as well. But in the meantime, before I did that, she was still trying to stop other vehicles. So for me, that's still my ward. I've had individuals in those areas talk about the brewery around there and talk about the different issues that they've been having. They've been having car break-ins and thefts go on. So, this one person that generally I'm hearing about, not the person in general, but I'm always hearing about robberies and thefts. Generally, you can't do nothing about that when your residents are saying somebody tried to rob me, they just stole my car. All you can do is sympathize and say, oh, I'm in such and such, I'm so sorry, hope the police get them. There's an instance where you can do something about it and say, hey, this person is trying to rob y'all. Look at what's going on, y'all. This is serious, it's on Madison. I've already did what I'm supposed to do. I called the police 3 separate times. Not that they're taking their time getting there. When they get there, then they'll do the best that they can to make sure that the situation is
contained.
Yeah, contained and de-escalated. But if somebody stops at this vehicle and they don't have, they're not in, not to say they're right mind, but if they got a gun on them, they may lay her out right here in the snow. I can prevent that from happening, but being safe at the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
So did the police eventually show up?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they showed up within, I would say, the 9 minutes of that video, about right at the 9-minute mark. They showed up, maybe 8:30 something.
And were they able to have a conversation with her, or was she gone?
No, she was right there. She was still trying to rob people while she was walking down the street.
And so what did she say to them? What did they say to her? Did you?
Well, I heard a little bit of it. It was really cold outside, so I got back in the vehicle.
Right.
From what I've heard, for what I did hear, she was explaining to them how me and her initially interacted. And she said the same thing I said, which is she ran up on me, asked me about why I'm in your people's house. I said, I don't know what she said after that, but it was, I guess, enough for them to incriminate her. Right. She had a large steak knife on her. They had to wrestle with her to get that weapon off of her.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Who did?
And so,
police officers.
Okay.
And so, I know a lot of people always say, how they will react in situations, but it's hard to say until you're in that situation. So, I mean, at that point, I know that even though you went back and all of that, at that point, your adrenaline and your heart rate and things like that had changed. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
At that point. So, what were you feeling when, at first, and then when you went back and all of that?
Well, so the initial feeling while I was sitting there at the gas station is, damn, she finna rob somebody else. Like, look at her standing in the middle of the street. This is nuts. These are my residents. What if she rob an elderly person or something like that? What if she rob a single mother and have them out here in the snow? Like, I should put this on camera. Like, those are my initial thoughts. But seeing somebody hit by a car, I'm gonna do something about that.
You saw her get hit by a car?
I saw it. It's on my live. Like, if you watch this on the live, you saw her get hit by a car. She was standing up and then disappeared. This car, right. They ran away from her the same way that I ran on foot. They ran on wheels. So.
Absolutely, but I'm talking about at the point where she was talking about give me your keys, and at the point where you was trying to get in your vehicle. At that point, you were being robbed. You were yes. You experienced some level of fear and some level of self-preservation at that point, because you didn't know at that time whether she had a gun or a knife.
Well, that's right. At that moment, I'm not in any way, shape, form, or fashion thinking of myself as being an elected official. I'm in survival mode. You trying to hurt me and take my life away. There's no professional way. My job is to legislate. It's not to be a professional victim and look at individuals who are trying to hurt me and hurt my community. If you're physically trying to harm us, that's not my job to be sympathetic in the moments where you're trying to harm us. It's me.
Well, you don't know.
That's right.
Right, in that moment. And just like you heard gunshots, you ran away from your own vehicle, leaving the door open. You were fleeing for safety at that point. So
I think it's difficult to say, professionalism in any way, shape, form, or fashion should be something that victims should be thinking about. You can't be a professional victim, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a police officer, whether you're a firefighter. Like, these are the things that are hurting our city. And as, when we look at individuals who are being preyed on, because I was preyed on, right?
Absolutely.
We look at what it is they could have done better, and now it is how we could have kept that from happening in general within our city limits.
Absolutely.
Well, a couple folks have raised the issue of the fact that she has a mental problem and that you should have known about the mental problem, or you should have been able to make an assessment of the fact that it was a mental problem and that you should have done something differently. What's your take on that?
I would say that there are plenty of individuals that are in jail right now that have murdered people in schools, murdered people in churches. I mean, went out and actually killed tens of people, multiple families, because they have a belief or this, and then we say there's a mental illness, regardless whether a person is mentally ill. Once that mentally ill person poses themselves to be a threat to individuals, that does not take away the humanistic approach and the how would I say, the effect of an individual who causes you to act outside of what you would generally do when helping somebody with a mental issue.
But you're not no doctor anyway.
That's right.
You haven't been trained in psychiatry.
Right.
100%.
People and then the people that are having a mental breakdown or a mental break at that point, you have to know how to de-escalate that.
Yeah.
That's a professional de-escalation. You don't know how to do that. At that point, that person could have acted mentally and stabbed you multiple times. I can, tell you of an incident, that happened where a person was trying to help another person, and he helped that person, and that person turned around and stabbed him to death.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
You get me? Mm-hmm. So when you're dealing with people that are not mentally stable, you in the heat of the moment. Somebody at your car telling you to give me your keys.
Yeah, but you had no way of knowing that she was mentally unstable, if in fact she was.
Well, I don't think
have anybody arrived? Have they made an assessment as to what her mental state is?
No, sir. What they gave her is no bond today. And I don't think that a judge,
no bond?
She has no bond right now, 0 bond. And I don't think that a judge and anybody would do that had this woman had mental issues. She is not mentally incompetent. When she walked up on me, her eyes was not dilated. I come from this community. I know what murderers look like. I can look in your eyes and know what it is that you do. This woman knew what it is that she wanted to do. She had a goal, and she was very competent when she walked up on me. She knew what she wanted to do, and she was in cahoots with whoever it was. She was, I'm not a frail-looking person. So when you see her on the ground looking like a damsel in distress, that could be her in a little bit of state of shock. It's cold outside. She just got hit by a vehicle. There are multiple things that go into, and she could have also been acting. As you see, she got right up and started asking other people. It wasn't like she was disoriented to where she couldn't walk down the street. We see people high in our communities on a regular basis, and a lot of times they're completely in a comatose state. They'd be leaning back, they'd be leaned over. She wasn't leaning back, she wasn't leaned over, she wasn't leaning to the side. She was able to get hit by a vehicle, stand up, and then ask another vehicle to stop, yelling out, hey. So there is no way that an individual who has in her mind, I want to stop these cars, continue with a mental illness to go after what it is that she believes without being sidetracked in the cold. It's freezing outside. So I don't think she has a mental illness, and I don't think that any judge or any prosecutor or defense attorney who actually sees that this woman has a mental problem would allow her to go with the representation that happened today and not be able to state that on the record that I believe she has a mental problem when representing her. And that was not documented today.
Did they arrest her? Did they make an arrest?
They made an arrest immediately.
Okay.
And once again, she had a weapon on her. She's now being charged with an ACA, armed criminal action. Mm-hmm. So, the stories are corroborated. And, just being honest, and I keep it real, man, it hurts me to see my people in this type of condition, man. It hurts. I know this is somebody's family. This is somebody's cousin, somebody's mother, maybe. It's somebody's auntie. Mm-hmm. So, it's messed up. I struggle myself with even thinking about I could possibly have to send somebody's mother or auntie or cousin to jail. But at the same time, there's an elderly person out there, if I do not do my duty, that she could potentially get, if she was on drugs, get hyped up again and then really go through with it the next time. It is, it's bothersome because these are the same people that I represent. If she came to me tomorrow and wanted to get a job, I would try to help the lady get a job. I'm not even bothered or hurt. I'm not mad at hurt. I'm more so hurt at the fact that this is even happening, that we even got to deal with this within our community, but it just is what it is. And, if there is a way that we can get her into treatment, ensure that she has the right tools that she needs to be outside amongst those individuals who are not trying to hurt people, then I'm amenable to saying, hey, let's give her a shorter time or whatever she needs. Let's clean her up. Like everybody that's on drugs, if she is on drugs, and I'm saying that because I don't know, you know, they ain't monsters. They ain't, you know, messed up. We have plenty of functional crackheads out here. So when we talk about mental illness, don't say just because somebody's on dope or somebody on drugs, they got a mental illness. You can just say they have a habit. They have a drug problem. That doesn't mean they're not competent. That doesn't mean they're not smart. That doesn't mean they're not intelligent. We got people that get hyped up on meth and all kind of things and create planes. You actually go fly around in this stuff. So the point that I'm making is I'm not angry at her. There's a lot of different things that have happened in our community that's gotten us to this point. I'm more so in a place and a mindset of how do we right it? How do we get it to a point where this not only does not happen to somebody else by her, but to somebody else that she could have been in cahoots with or somebody else that she knows. I'm not mad at that woman. I wasn't mad at her when I approached her. It was a feeling of that you take with all these old people and all these people saying we need to do something about this problem.
Absolutely. But, you know, I mean, every community has, you know, things that happen. But people are in situations, people have choices.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was a choice she made that night to do what she decided to do that night.
Yes, ma'am.
You responded to the action that was presented to you that night. And sometimes people have, people can easily judge a person's response to an action when they themselves were not in that action. My grandfather used to always say, I always say this, never judge a man until you walk the full day in his shoes. You get me? And so your response at that moment was your response at that moment.
Yeah. Well, we got to go to a break, but you stick around. We talk about some other things that you're trying to accomplish in the war.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. Stay right there. Keep it on lock. Quit playing. Welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. I'm joined by my sister here, and with my sister, Carla May, Senator Carla May. We're going all the way with Carla May.
All the way.
And my brother, Brandon Bosley, just happened to stop by, and he's been talking to us a little bit about some of the things that have been happening to him. And now we're going to ask him a little bit about what's happening in the 3rd Ward.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Well, one thing, and this is something that's important to me. What about this damn Central High School? They have vandalized the school. They've gone in, taken out windows. I mean, it is just a mess.
You talking about down here on Grand and
Talking about
Glasgow.
on Glasgow and
Glasgow
Natural Bridge.
right there.
Yeah.
Really?
That's my school. That's where I graduated from, along with hundreds of others.
So there's no plan to turn the building into something else?
Well, let's listen to the alderman.
There is. So for years we've been working on putting together a plan on what to do with it. Initially, it could have been like some lofts.
Make
to
sure you're in
communities.
the microphone.
Okay. The community didn't like the loft idea very much. So then we had some folks interested in turning it into a film school, and
How did the community feel about that?
the folks that were at the meetings was happy that it was being turned into something where their children will be able to go up the street and be able to utilize. And
Well, you know, most people ain't gonna say nothing until stuff starts happening.
That's right. And that's how it's been. It's been pretty quiet. But now you see, right now it's already sold. We've got over $100 million is already acquired for the school. The school right now is currently gated off, and there are already people inside doing small things. So by this summer, it'll be being gutted out. And I would say within the next year, the first phase should be done with it. But
So they're turning it into a film school?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is going to who?
So there's a company called DDP. It's a half black owned, a little bit more than half, but we've got some churches that are working in the city involved. Jubilee Church right at North Grand and Carter. They're part owners in it as well.
So is it already, do they have something already existing? Is this brand new? What is the accrediting agency for the school? That type of thing. Or is this something that they're building out as they go?
It's been built out. The accreditation from the school in general. This isn't a university. This is more of a school that we know that our children have talents. We know that St. Louis people in general have talents, but we don't have anywhere really in our city where individuals are focused on film, focused on just videography, and giving our children and the people in the city a place where they can explore the film industry. And that's what this building serves to be. And you'll have professional actors and trainers. One of the individuals that are involved is from Disney. If anybody's familiar with Boys Meets World, one of the directors, the director, is involved as well with this project. So you know, it's a pretty cool project, and it's with pretty connected people.
Okay. Awesome. I see.
So if everything goes right, there also could be a 20 to 30 foot story. 20 to 30 story loft that comes with it as well.
Okay.
Living spaces. So you know, it will be really, really nice to have people from the film industry come, be able to film within our city, and you know, be right there with some of our children and people who aspire to be in the film industry, whether you're a musician or an actor.
So is it going to be mixed housing, meaning affordable and retail market rate housing?
More so, the lofts will be utilized by the individuals that are utilizing the film school.
Oh, okay, very good, very good.
Campus.
Okay, very good.
And the lofts are going to be where now?
They'll be right behind the school. So they'll be on the campus of the school.
Okay.
So really kind of right behind Palm.
Yeah.
You know, those few buildings that are back there, things will be interesting. To them.
And so, you know, and
Some of them.
Okay.
Some
Right.
of them. And then some people will, like, you got your individuals that will be, you know, teachers. They'll actually, you know, some of them live on campus.
well,
you know,
and something
living
else
outside.
that's happening over there is, you know, Great Rivers Greenway, that project that's going down Grand from right at Grand and Natural Bridge, going all the way down. They already have the federal grants for that.
They had a beautiful
out.
event. I think it was probably in September up on Grand and Hebert.
Yes.
And it was very well attended. Brandon was there, and
right.
it was very nice, and we got a chance to meet a lot of the players there. So we're looking forward to that.
I saw the layout. It's going to change that landscape of that community.
Yeah, we hope. I mean, it's time to get busy.
That's right.
It is time to get busy,
right.
but we got to be willing to, get busy. We have to be the ones to make sure that we have an investment in our communities.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So that's key.
Okay, so we got the Central High School piece.
Yes, sir.
Did you talk about what else? Is that geospatial something?
We have a geospatial training center. So at Central High School, if everybody knows what Central is, right down the street you got Elliott School as well. So Elliott School is being turned by Jubilee as well. We're working to turn that into a wellness center. So we'll have health and wellness with housing right there inside of Elliott School as well. We'll be able to take people right off the streets and off those corridors who are addicted to drugs. And
Well, Elliott is like down there by West Florissant and Kossuth, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
So Elliott and Central share Glasgow, and they're less than a mile and a half from each other. So it's going to be a really good development as well. The Geospatial Training Center, that should be, if it goes the way we like it to, they'll be breaking ground on that within the next few months. There's already $5 million allocated to it. Shout out to State Representative Lakeisha Bosley, Steve Butts, and other individuals for working
Lakeisha
hard.
who?
Lakeisha Bosley.
You talking about for Nikita,
Yep.
who trains the high school students for geospatial?
Yes, ma'am.
That's Senator Carla May.
I was just going to say, and most
That's who?
importantly,
That's
Senator Carla May.
That's right. Who
That's right.
allocated that?
It was
on.
coming. I mean, you saved the best for last. You was
I
going to get a
mean,
drum roll into most stuff.
Come on now.
And the amazing Senator Carla May for securing $5 million.
It was $6
for
million.
$6 million. I think we
That's
got
right.
5.
It was 6.
Okay. Well, for securing $6 million for a geospatial intelligence school
To be where?
in the 3rd Ward. It'll be in Hyde Park, right off. It's at 1435 Mellencrop.
And
Really?
let's talk about
Yes,
where
sir.
it trains. She has the
And Carla
only.
May brought that money in.
Absolutely.
Really?
That's right.
$5
I
million.
put it in myself in the budget. Hold on. So
Yeah,
wait a
what's
minute.
that?
She
A
has
pat
the
on-
only
a pat-
federal.
A pat on the
She
back.
got to pat herself on the
Absolutely.
back.
It's been 13 years.
That's right.
I might as well,
Go ahead.
So anyway, no, she has the only federal contract or accreditation to train for geospatial intelligence
Who
training.
does?
Zakita
The
Armstrong.
Zakita Armstrong. And it's a program that trains high school students, junior and seniors, for geospatial. Once they enter that training, they go off to college with a full scholarship, come back and work for the geospatial.
And some of them go to college with a security clearance.
Absolutely.
250
Can we
to
get her
300
on?
students.
Federal security clearance.
Can we get her on to
You-
talk about that?
You need to.
Yes, we
That's
need-
right.
So one thing we'll
Absolutely.
be running, we're doing a tax abatement for it, and we need an extra $1.3 million to seal the deal. We'll be throwing that in just a few weeks into Board Bill 120 to ensure that this goes off without a hitch. In the summertime, they'll be breaking ground on it. They want to immediately start working on it.
Yeah, so you have some great things that you have been working on in the 3rd Ward. I'm excited.
Oh, you really?
I am.
Okay.
For that part of the city to actually, yes, absolutely. That's Old North.
I'll tell you something that has cropped up where I think you've been out front here talking about a curfew.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with that?
So we introduced the curfew bill. One thing that I want to couple it with is curfew centers. So we keep on saying that the kids are outside. They're only outside because they don't have nothing to do inside. It's boring. So what we want to do is create curfew centers and give them the opportunity, if you want to be outside at a certain time and you're not doing unproductive, let's say, for instance, you're not in football, you're not in a sport, you're not in any extracurricular activity with the church or the schools, we need to have a place where they can go and enjoy themselves. And for folks who don't have good living home conditions. They, the water's off, maybe the gas is off. We need a place where they can come and say that this is what's going on in my household and have the resources there for them to be able to get that the city's already spent money on and these other organizations provides to be able to help them have a comfortable living space. And for those who just don't want to be home, we need a place for to be able to say, hey, man, if you get, and this is messed up. Some folks
just don't want to be home.
Some of them, well, because home for a lot of these kids ain't the best place to be, unfortunately.
Right. Okay.
You got kids getting raped, and, you got folks in our community who, got bullet holes, getting shot at, the doors every night. This is just an unfortunate situation. So having somewhere where they know while mama's at work or, at the nighttime, I don't really have nobody there. It's just me and my little brother. I can go to a curfew center if I get outside. I can go here. We can go play games. 10 o'clock, I got a cot. We got food here. These are the things that our children need when we're saying that we want to get you off the streets. We know what happens after 9:30, 10 o'clock at night and the sun goes down. A lot of them end up in situations where they're influenced negatively. So giving them that positive environment and letting them choose, right, and then forcing it on them at the same time. In this curfew bill, which will be included into it, it's going to be like mandatory for you to go through training programs. You're going to be mandatorily having to go through, MOCAN or having to go through situations or programs where the judge or we deeming, hey, you've been outside 2 or 3 times, we're going to get you a job. You got to get a job.
So where is the center going to be located?
So the goal is to have multiple ones because we know how our city's divided. Somebody from the west side maybe can't link up with folks on the north side.
So how are they going to be funded?
Some ARPA funds and Rams settlement money. That is the goal.
And so are we going to be utilizing what about the current city recreation centers that we have right now?
They're not open 24 hours.
They not. That's what I'm saying.
So the thought would be if we put it in the budget and we allow these places that are like churches, for instance. There are churches out there with gyms. There are churches that are like, one of the ones in our ward, Jubilee, and I got to bring it up. They got a trucking center there. They've got, a center for individuals who are on drugs. So if your mom is on something or a father or whoever it is, you can go there, get treatment. We can get you into housing right up the street and be able to take care of your kids at nighttime, given the proper funds. And they already got people on
that are trained.
Payroll that are trained to be able to deal with that type of trauma, right? So, with those individuals who work for the city of St. Louis, we don't have 24-hour service like that. And I think that it'd be much more expensive being able to do so, seeing as these folks already work in this capacity. If we throw out an RFP and allow them.
So are we trying to do what we call a public-private partnership?
Yes, ma'am.
With the city with already existing entities? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think that'd be the best way to go to. You got folks like Sankofa, Darren Sills, man. He got a place out there where he's serving a good 100 kids every weekend. You got Unborn with Brother John Nell. He got 350 kids that comes to his place every weekend. They learning about languages, different languages. They learning about different things in school. He's teaching them things that you're not learning in the neighborhood, and then teaching them how to work with each other. So
absolutely,
giving him the opportunity to have those same kids who are uncomfortable at night but gotta go home, say, hey, man, you could just spend a night here. Mm-hmm.
So in those centers, even though, I'm just saying people are under the age, we would have parental consent for those individuals to be at those centers.
Well, if the curfew is if you get caught out on the street and you're not... if you get caught out on the street, you go into the curfew center. And ain't nobody going to ask your mama, can you go? They're just going to take you there. And I guess you can make a call or something when you get there, but they're going to get you off the street.
That's it. And your mom's supposed to come pick you up.
Right.
And we find out while you're on the street. If mama working from 9:30 to 3 a.m., then we know we probably need to be helping you at night. If you finna be walking outside, and if it was just food that you needed, then we fill up the refrigerator.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just asking questions that normal, people would want to know.
Yes.
Normal citizens would want to know. But that is it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is a real good idea. I mean, we, of course, we announced curfew centers when I was in office in 1993. But if that's what y'all want to do, you can come on back and try it again.
I say let's do it. So it's no time better than us looking back on what time was. Our kids are steady that they're reaching out. they been outside telling us they don't want to be inside, and we're saying, nah, we're not going to get inside. Right. We're not going to spend no money on helping you find something better to do. We don't have no programming out here. Just enjoy. We got like 4 boys and girls clubs. Hopefully you can afford them. It's not fair.
Absolutely. Well, I think that we did have more to do when I was growing up. There was more offered through the school system. Like when I was growing up, there were summer programs at the schools, at the art museum, the history museum, all of those programs, and you were at those programs from the time your mama dropped you off to the time they got off work. Mm-hmm. Those were programs that were offered in the summertime. We had the Say Yes program that was offered through some school. When you go to that program, you got music, you got all different type of things that you would normally get through the school year. And when we got out of school, there were after-school programs that you could go to when you got out after school, when if your parents weren't able to get you. So I think that having multiple things for individuals to do is good, And I think that we should also foster a relationship, with community policing. In those centers as well. Mm-hmm. You got what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Having a place for law enforcement officers to be there as well, because we are going to have to bridge this narrative, because all people want safe communities. I mean, I was down I don't know if this is the 3rd ward, but I was down on Salisbury when we had that event down there when Trudy Bush was running for office, and that mother who lives in the JVL, all she said was that she was over 80, African-American woman, senior citizen, complaining about how aggressive these youth are to her when she's trying to walk outside her house. They're disruptive, and she kept saying she want more police because she don't feel safe. Well, we have to change the mindset of these youth, but we also need these parents to engage. These are your youth. These are your children. Our children, absolutely. But we still need them to engage, and we still need them. They might need help.
So that's one of the things I do like about where the bill is going. It addresses the absent parent to some degree. We do have to make some changes in it, but it's to have a good, robust argument or debate. But in it, it allows for the first, second, and third time. During those times, you end up getting community service, but the judge can order you community service with your parent. So opposed to your parent being absent and you just being outside, you get 24 hours of, you got to go clean up with your mama. But what if it's not cleaning up? What if this kid is just looking for something to eat? We catch him outside 3 times, and we find out that you got a knack for building stuff. Not only, you're not finna go through a 25 hours community service. Now you got to go through one of these programs. We're going to force you to go build something or create something, and then the parent has to be there with you at the same time. Like, mama, you leaving him absent? Now you got to be here at this training program with him. You got to learn what he's learning. Now, you don't want to be an electrician.
Right.
But
yeah.
That's right.
So the reason I tell you to talking to the mic, because I'm watching
those levels.
The levels, and when sometimes when you're saying nothing, it's not moving, so they may not be able to hear you. So I'm not, beating up on you when I keep hitting your arm like this.
So I generally think when you're tapping me, I'm talking too much, because that's what Linda does. She'd be like, "Hey man,
cut it."
Cut it
down.
Yeah, you have to be able to make your point, and cut it off.
Yeah.
Unless you're filibustering.
Understood.
And I don't think you guys have a filibuster down there, or maybe you do.
Well, so now, how long have you been the alderman?
6 years now.
6 years. Okay.
Yes, sir.
6 years. Okay, that's pretty good. How long was Dad the alderman?
37.
You got a long way to go.
Long way to go.
You got to catch up. We talked about that. What is the 89? No riotous living.
Yeah, that's right. As if you want to follow in your father's footsteps.
So it's a long time.
It is a long time, but
oh my God,
a lot of work to be done.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it's about service. It's a lot of people just want an office, but. In order to be a good servant, you have to try to be the greatest servant. Yeah, that's what Jesus was. He was the greatest servant, and
that's right.
And that's what you have to do, man. You have to try to get that in.
You got to imitate them.
That's right.
Yes,
But
sir.
we appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate
and
you
talking
all.
with us. Hopefully we'll have you back. You come back, but we want to give you a chance to get out what was going on that incident over on Madison, because we've been hearing about it a little bit and we've been seeing different things going on, and so we want to give you a chance to talk about that.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you all having me.
Okay.
So thank you.
All right then.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you.
Appreciate you.
All
That's
right.
right. All right, now. That's what's
Appreciate
going
you,
on.
sir.
You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. Keep it on lock.
Quit playing.
Quit playing. What's going on, St. Louis? You listen to the Freeman Bosley Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. This is our last segment. It's 10 minutes. We basically are going to dedicate these last 10 minutes to a good friend who's gone. A good friend to us and a good friend to this community, Mr. Demetrius Johnson.
Absolutely.
Carla May.
You know, this brought me to my knees. And unexpected. I had actually called to his room, and they told me he was in surgery, but I couldn't understand why he was in surgery. And then I got that text message later that night, and it was awful.
He had passed
That he had passed.
Oh, so it was a second surgery.
Yeah.